Welcome to Around the Ozarks Spotlight. Each week we uncover the stories behind the people in Southwest Missouri who have entrepreneurial spirit, who work to better the lives of others, or put pen to paper to write books about the stories and history of the Ozarks and its people. I'm your host, Scott Meier, and today we're going to explore the world of Habitat for Humanity of Springfield with the development director, Amber Mueller. Hey, Amber, how are you?
Hi, Scott. Doing well.
And I always love the title development director because it hides the real title, which is you're the one that has to chase the money. Got to find some money.
Correct.
Right. So there's good connotations there and difficult connotations, right? Because we live in a community with over the last I heard of, I think we're up to 3,200 charities. And for a community of 500,000 people, that's a lot of charities.
Yes, there's some great causes, though. So can't discount any of them.
No, there truly is. But I think, it's been my experience in some other markets where I've lived where, unlike Springfield, where they get along, there are some places where the different charities beat each other up or overlap so much that they chase the same people for the same money and kind of lose sight of the whole reason that they exist. Now, I will tell you, I do have history with Habitat for Humanity. I had a station in Central Michigan that I was part of that we built 2 homes.
Are you hearing noise?
Yeah, what was that?
We're on Scenic. Our Restore is on Scenic, is where our offices are.
Right.
It gets a little noisy over here.
It sounded like a ship.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, okay. So, that's why we do this. It's live, and here we go. But the bottom line is, I had a staff, and we worked with a couple of different banks, and we're part of a build. Met the family, which is interesting, and we'll get into that. You can talk more about that. And the family did spend some time helping. It was a mom and three daughters. But at the end of the day, they own their first home and have to make payments and things. So I think what I'd like to do with you first, if we can, Amber, is let's back it up a little bit and talk about what is Habitat for Humanity. I think it's one of those charities that has a great name, certainly has name recognition, but I'm not sure people understand what it does. How does Habitat for Humanity work here in Springfield?
Well, it's very much like a franchise. We've got our international group, which is out of Atlanta or out of Georgia. And so for Springfield, it's nice because Habitat gets to really develop around the culture in which it stands. So for Springfield, we do serve the Christian County, Webster, and Greene County areas as far as applicants. But currently, we are just building in Greene County. And what we do is not only building houses, but we're also repairing homes, and we are doing neighborhood revitalization. So we have our primary habitat build, which is Legacy Trails. So that's over North Springfield. We've got phase 1, phase 2, and very excited to say that we'll be starting phase 3 this year, which will be about 12 more home spots there that we'll be able to build onto. And then we're also neighbors with Woodland Heights. So Woodland Heights neighborhood, we've kind of adopted that neighborhood. We've done a lot of building in there. We do Rock the Block programs, which is bringing in large groups of people, taking over a couple of blocks and then in the neighborhoods and spending an entire Saturday cleaning it up. Kind of survey the neighbors, ask what they need. We do gutter clean outs. We bring in big dumpsters and large trash throwaways. So we build, we revitalize, and we repair. So we're doing about 48, I believe, home repairs this year.
Really?
That's through a grant program. So sometimes we'll be doing a home build, and like there might be a house that we see nearby that the roof does not look like in good repair. We'll knock on the door and say, can you use some help with this? And so we have grant programs that allow us to go in and do some home repairs as well.
So Habitat is not simply building homes for people.
We are not, and we're also not giving the homes away.
Right. Well, let's talk about that a little bit. Well, so how does it work? So if I'm a family, or I have a family, and we are not homeless necessarily, but we are home challenged, if you will, and we come to Habitat for your help, what happens then?
There's an application process. There's a vetting process. We will work with these families that are selected to come into our home building ownership program. They will go through 14 weeks of Tools for Life classes.
Mm-hmm.
They will do 250 to 350 hours of sweat equity, both in the restore and on home site builds. 250 is if there's one person on the deed. 350 is if there's two people on the deed.
Okay.
The program itself from start to finish usually takes about 2 years before we will have a home ready for them to move into. And we will work with them on finances and making sure that their income is sustainable. We've got ambassadors that come alongside our homeowners, and we'll just give them some of the moral support that they need to help keep them on track. Mm-hmm. So it's a very hands-on process. And you yourself said that when you went to build in Michigan, you were building alongside those homeowners that were in the program. So
yes,
that is the case. When we have people out on our work sites volunteering, oftentimes they'll be working with those homeowners that building a home for them.
It's really eye-opening because you get a chance when you meet the family. You get some idea of their background a little bit. So there's a little bit more of a backstory. You're not simply, I think sometimes with charity work, I think, not speaking for everybody, but certainly for myself and as much charity things I've been involved in, sometimes there's never a there. You know, there's you're attacking things. It's like when we talk about the poverty level, that's a moving target. You know, now with inflation at 8 or 10%, I mean, that changes the whole poverty thing because the value of money goes down. And so it's a moving target. But with Habitat, when you meet the family and it is a build, if it is a build, you really get a chance to understand their world and how important it can be for them. And oh, by the way, they've got sweat equity.
Mm-hmm. So many of our homeowners that I've met, they're so inspiring. This is more than going out and looking for a home, picking that home, signing a check, taking on a mortgage. I mean, they're working, they've got children, they've got, a lot more going on in their lives than I think the average person. They're so tenacious, and I am absolutely inspired by every single one of our homeowner partners.
No, that's a great storyline. When you go into a neighborhood, is it at the request of the neighborhood to do builds there, or do you scout out neighborhoods and then have meetings and talk about it?
We scout out the right location and the right home. So we do have people that are offering to donate land to us, offering to donate homes to us sometimes. We've got a committee that will go out and look at the property and determine whether it's in our best interest to actually take it on. Sometimes if it's a piece of land that, everybody pays property tax, we have to pay property tax on our land. If we don't feel like it's the right fit, or that it's going to be hard to sell and put that money back into our program so that we can maybe build somewhere else, we won't take it. So there's a lot of vetting that's done with everything with Habitat. And we've just got a lot of good people that are on our committees and our board to help out with that. We're a very lean group. There's only about 31 of us who actually work for the organization. So we're doing a lot with a little. So we're always looking for those volunteers to come alongside us, to join a committee, join our board, help build a house, help out at the restore. Sure. Our needs are endless.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Amber Mueller, my guest. Amber is the development director for Habitat for Humanity here in Springfield. And Amber, how long have you been there?
Since June of last year.
Oh, that's it?
Yes.
Did you come from another charity to come over here?
I did not. I came from the corporate world, but I was working a lot with nonprofits as a community partner from the corporate sector, and moved back home. This is home to me, from Texas. And when I moved back a year and a half ago, I wanted to be in nonprofit world. So very blessed to be part of Habitat's group.
See, here's the difficulty, Amber. This is why it's always tough when you're 68 years old. I thought I knew you, then I didn't remember I knew you, and now I know you as my neighbor.
Correct.
So I did know some of that background, and but I didn't tie the name Mueller to you and your husband. How crazy is that? I'm so sorry.
But, so when we came on here today, you didn't realize you were talking to somebody who we've had this conversation last summer.
But when you mentioned the dollhouse story from Christmas, I'm thinking, how did she know? How would you know that? Well, you look different with your glasses. I don't think I've always seen you with your glasses on.
Yeah, probably not.
And you're normally in a two-piece by the pool. The
We can share that.
well, now everybody knows. That's the beauty of podcasting. Now everybody knows. So your time, yeah, you were in the corporate world, and then when you moved here, you went into charity work. How different are the two?
It depends on the company that you work for. I was blessed to work for Salesforce, and they're very philanthropic. So probably about 80% of my time was spent working with the community and finding ways that we as a corporation could help. Being in the nonprofit side, it's very different. We are accountable we are servants of people's money that they fund and help us as partners. So there's just so much more accountability here in a job, in a role with a nonprofit.
Now, you mentioned you're there at Habitat Restore. Let's talk about that a little bit. Yeah. What is Habitat Restore? How do people find it? What kinds of things are you looking for?
Oh, Habitat Restore. It's the best kept secret in Springfield.
Yes.
So
here's your chance. You get to tell the story.
Yeah. We are on Scenic. We're right in front of Nathaniel Green Park. And we are completely run by donations. So people can bring donations from their homes. We will take most furnishings. We have anywhere from just small knickknacks that you might want to put into your house to cars. We just sold a car. Somebody donated a car to us, and we just sold a car last week.
Really?
So it is a great place if you're into rehabbing your home. We get tons of donations from local vendors, i.e. Acme Brick, Harry Cooper Supply. They will bring us donations, and then we sell them. We have decent pricing. It is not thrift store pricing because these items that are donated from local partner vendors, we're not, again, we want to be stewards of what they've given us and be able to benefit what we do with that money, which is building homes. About 51% of the money that we put into building our homes comes from the Restore. So we encourage anybody, homeowners and businesses alike, if you have items to donate, please contact us. And we do pickups. We've got a gate back in the back of the store. You can drop things off, but if you have large items, we will come and pick them up. We'll schedule the pickup. Love Christmas items. We have a big Christmas kickoff. I believe it's on November. It's the first Monday of November every year. And so we're always looking for Christmas items, and we store those all year long and have a great big Christmas kickoff. So we've got a lot of great items here.
So it's run like a business, or it is a business.
Oh, it is it's a retail store. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So come shop, come donate, come volunteer. We have.
What are the hours? When is it open?
Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5.
And this is new and used items.
Yes.
Okay.
So
all right.
One of the things that we are trying to push is getting, if somebody's renovating their kitchen, we would love to have your cabinets. So if you've got some nice cabinets that you're getting rid of, please ask your contractor if they could take them out gently. Give us a call. We'll come pick them up. And we're able to resell cabinets so somebody else can renovate their kitchen with items that you may not want.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And cabinets are one of those things that could be incredibly expensive when you're buying new. Now, do you use some of the things from the Restore in the houses as you redo them?
We don't. The houses are standardized so that it's very equitable for all of our homeowner partners. So they get to select like the color of the home, what kind of flooring goes in, the color of cabinets. So there's some selection process that they get to do within the home build, but it is standardized. So we cannot, give somebody a high-end cabinet when our other homeowner partners are getting what is the standard product. So.
My guest today on Around the Ozarks Spotlight is Amber Mueller. Amber is the development director for the Habitat for Humanity here in Springfield, and quite frankly, a neighbor of mine. So someone I'm very comfortable with and know both she and her husband pretty well, believe it or not. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a moment with more on Around the Ozarks Spotlight. I'm your host, Scott Meier. Back in just a moment. And welcome back to the second half of today's Around the Ozarks Spotlight. My guest today is Development Director Amber Mueller. Amber with Habitat for Humanity of Springfield. Amber, you were mentioning that you not only do work in Greene County, but you do it, about a 5-county radius?
3 counties, Webster
3
and
counties.
Christian. We
Okay.
will accept applications from those counties, but the work that we're doing is actually takes place in Greene County right now. That's not to say it won't change at some point that we start building into other counties. But right now it's primarily the building in Greene.
So why is that?
That is due to, like I said, we're almost run like a franchise organization, but there are proceeds that fees that we pay back to international. And if we bypass a certain threshold of the community numbers, then we pay a higher threshold. So right now we have to keep it reasonable for our pricing. So
Sure. No, totally understand. Now, as a development director, we opened the show and talked about that. It's a great title, but the bottom line is it has everything to do with raising money, which is not easy. I would assume you have a board of directors.
Yes, we do.
And how many people make up that board?
We've got about 25 on the board right now, but that is because we will have about 7 of those members will be phasing out in July. So we brought on a few extras before they phase out to, kind of pass the baton.
Well, as you said, anybody that may be listening to the show that's ever sat on a board before knows that the board is a part of the fundraising effort as well. But as development director, where do you get your funding primarily?
The funding comes from the community. So I basically am going out and, making friends and talking to businesses. Many businesses have those community engagement managers, and they are looking for opportunities to share the wealth that the company has been making and share it within the community. We have a very generous community here in Springfield. Like you said, we have over probably 3,000. I don't know what the exact number is of
it's over 3,000. Yeah.
Right.
It's over 3,000.
And for per capita, that's huge, but we have very generous partners here in the Springfield area.
And does
and
your
the
funding come
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask, does any funding come from United Way?
Yes, we are a United Way partner.
Good.
That they do an amazing job here in Springfield. Not only the funding, but providing opportunities to generate volunteers. They've got a Give 5 program, which is people who are retired. They can get involved there. They bring them around to get to know the different opportunities within the community and can plug in wherever they feel the most comfortable. So
right. No, that's the Give 5 is Greg Burris's baby, and he's done a great job with that. It's
very much so.
It's amazing. Yeah, he said they've had 19 classes so far over the last, I think, 5 years that he's been retired from city manager, and he said they have to close each class because they have too many people that are registering. So it's great. It's nice to see that retirees are finding different ways to do things.
Yes.
I try to ask all of our guests when they're involved in charities. So I put you on the spot here a little bit. Can you share a story that maybe brings that whole point home of why Habitat for Humanity is so important to people? Is there a specific story that you could paint the picture maybe a little bit?
I can't really get into details, obviously.
No, that's not
our partners, but just
in a broad brush.
Just getting to know some of our partners. And I had said in the first portion of this show that, they're going through probably more than what the average person in Springfield is dealing with, both professionally and personally. And then to be going through our program and the hurdles that you really have to go through to accomplish getting to that point of where we dedicate the home and they sign the mortgage and take on the home ownership. It's inspiring. They're working full-time jobs. Oftentimes they have children. Some of them have health issues, and you never hear complaining. At least, well, I don't. There might be complaining, but they're so grateful. Just so grateful for the helps. And we don't just act as a resource to help them get into a home. There's so many organizations that, we point people to the resources that they need, dependent upon, what their scope of need is. So just being that partner to point people in the right direction. So many of the folks, they're very independent, very just self-motivated. They motivate us. So I go home every day excited to come back the next day. Just it's very invigorating. It's exhausting.
You can't ask for more than that.
It's exhausting, but it's invigorating.
Sure. Yeah.
And I did want to speak to the funding a little bit. We are also the mortgage holders for these homes.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have to have the homes have to be essentially paid for up front. We don't want to take on any mortgage debt, any interest debt. So we have to have the funding to build these homes and then turn around and, we're getting the returns on that is, over 20, 30, 40 years oftentimes. Right. So what we get back from the mortgage payments is not enough to build another home. It's not sustainable. So that's where the funding comes in, that we have to have those monies up front to be able to pay for the materials, for the contract labor. Because our volunteers obviously can't do everything. You have to have the certified electrical engineers and the HVAC to come in and do that part of the work as well.
Now, do you get help from the city at all?
Explain.
Well, money, grants. Are there grants, or is there any money that the city makes available?
Yes. In fact, Legacy Trails Phase 3, that was an ARPA grant that we got. So we'll be able to provide the infrastructure to be able to start the third phase of that community, which will give us 12 to 14 more lots, depending on how the engineer designs it. So that will, like I said, break ground this year, and we'll be able to start building on Phase 3 of Legacy Trails.
My guest you're hearing and viewing, if you're viewing, is Amber Mueller. Amber is the development director for Habitat for Humanity here in Springfield. How many homes? I know we weren't going to get too tight into numbers, but if we looked at 2022, how many new homes were built?
We built 4 new homes in 2022.
Okay.
Obviously, it's been a little bit lean since COVID. People didn't want to come together and get together to do volunteering. So we're kind of still digging out of that. But this, end of 2022, 23, we are becoming a little bit more robust with the groups that come out. And speaking of volunteering, our home volunteers, if you're wanting to do a home build, would be on Wednesday through Saturday, about 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock would be the time periods that we need volunteers out at our home builds. On any one of those days, the ideal number is about 8 to 10 people at a time. If we get too many, obviously it just gets too many people to manage.
But it's a lot of fun.
It is, yes.
It truly is, because you're, wielding a hammer or a saw or even a broom. Whatever you're doing, you really feel like you're more than just part of the community. You're really changing people's lives, and that's pretty cool. What about the corporate assistance here in the market? Do you get some of the banks or some of the larger industrial, or even some of the smaller companies? Are they raising their hand and saying, "Hey, we'll send a crew"?
Absolutely. We've gotten a lot of help. Some of our roofing companies in the area, they'll donate an entire roof and the service to put it on. Which is amazing. Our houses aren't huge, so we can have a roofing company come out and put a roof on in a day, which that speeds up the process for us. Plus, it typically is that can be anywhere from $5,000 to $6,000 worth of service that they're providing in materials.
Oh, sure, right. Absolutely.
HVAC, we're always willing to bring on partners to put in the HVAC. We've had several companies that have come alongside us there, but we're always looking for more partners. Same thing with electrical. So,
right.
Those are sponsorship opportunities. If somebody wants to donate the labor and the materials, we just bring you in as a sponsor, put your logo on our sign outside of the house, and you're just right there alongside us.
Now, how do they go about doing that? What's the best way to get? Yeah. And how do they do
that? You can call the office at 829-4001, of course, 417 area code. My extension is 116. Go on our website, and you can just go into info@habitatspringfieldmo.org and send an email. We'll get back in touch with you as soon as you reach out.
Now, the restore, if we can take a step back to the restore that you're in right now, right? You're physically in the restore.
Yes.
Are there any items that you don't want? Interestingly enough, we had these curios in another life that we were trying to get rid of. They were a big thing in the 80s, and nobody wants them anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of like China.
It's
China,
right.
Nobody wants that.
But I mean, it's like our kids. My wife is like, we should be able to sell these things for $300 a piece, and I'm like, nobody wants them, right? Well, anyway, we had called, oh gosh, I don't know, Wounded Warriors or someone, and they said, we can't use those either. Is there anything like that that you have that maybe you don't want people to call about and say, hey, come get this?
So mattresses, we won't take mattresses. Simply, the nature of you just don't know what's in a mattress. So we just across the board won't take mattresses. Soft goods, any kind of bedding, blankets, pillows out of homes. We'll take them new from, like Ashley Furniture has donated some pillows. We do purchase our rugs at a discount and pass that discount along, but all of our rugs here are brand new, so we don't take those out of homes either. Sure. But otherwise, pretty much any furniture items, any household items, construction items. We've got a brand new snowblower down in the store right now for sale. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Now I did have, here's a personal need, not now, but it was a week ago. Our in the garage refrigerator freezer went out.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And after throwing out about $500 of the frozen meat that was no longer frozen, trying to find a used refrigerator freezer. There's a lot of people that sell them. You're never really sure what you're buying.
Right.
And is that something that somebody could go to the restore and say, hey?
We have some very nice washer and dryers right now. We've got refrigerators, ovens, microwaves. The really cool thing is, so when I started here, I had to spend some time volunteering my time in the restore. All of those appliances, we hook them up, freezers, refrigerators, we will hook them up for 24 hours, make sure that they're still working. So anything you buy here, at the moment you buy it, it's working. We can't guarantee, the travel home or what that's going to do, but everything that we're selling on the floor is currently working.
Well, I never, ever I never thought about restore. And it's just killing me because now that we're talking about it, I mean, it would be perfectly logical to go someplace where it actually helps somebody. And I figured you probably would take a little time to make sure the darn thing works, right?
Yes. Yeah, we've got hookups outside. We hook up the washers, make sure that the water's flowing through great. Yeah. I was very impressed with the process that we used to vet those.
No, that's excellent because sometimes shady's not fair, but some of the places that you call, you don't know what they do. And in some cases, I mean, there were ones that weren't even cleaned out, which is like, that was pretty nasty. Yeah. Kind of like what a mattress might look like on the inside.
Yeah.
When that hasn't been cleaned out. Yeah.
We don't want to take that chance. So
no. We are almost out of time. So let's revert back to, again, how do they get a hold of you, Amber? If people want to either be a volunteer, obviously send you checks, which I'm sure you'd like to have, or even corporate sponsors. What's the best ways to get a hold of Amber Mueller?
Info at habitatspringfieldmo.org is our email address that'll get to me. You can call me at 417-829-4001, extension 116, or just stop by the restore and ask to speak to one of our leadership team, and we'd be happy to talk to you. One thing we didn't get a chance to talk about, but we have events coming up. We've got a Women Build coming up with a kickoff lunch on February 14th, sponsorships and tickets available for that. And then our big gala event, which will build an entire house if we get it full, is our Tool Belts and Bow Ties Gala on May 12th. So if you have any interest in getting sponsorships or tickets for those, please reach out as well.
Excellent. I want to thank my guest today, Amber Mueller. Amber, Development Director with Habitat for Humanity here in Springfield. Thanks for being a guest and thanks for being so gracious.
All right. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. I also want to thank my producer, Taylor Worley and Jay Stevens, as well as all of you for joining us today. If you happen to miss any or all of today's program, you can find it in its entirety on MidwestFamilySpringfield.com, AroundTheOzarks.com, which is new, and also I can't find it now. We have a new app. There's an Around the Ozarks app, which you can get on the Apple app page. But if you get it online, just scroll the page to find out about today's podcast, Around the Ozarks Spotlight, and all the others that we've had late this year. I'm Scott Meier, and remember, every day is a gift. Enjoy life. Again, thanks, Amber. See you later.
Thank you.